Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to those watching here and everywhere else. I hope that you're having as wonderful a night as we are. We are your team for the evening. My name's Soppies TV. I'm joined by Lil Fuzzy Seal and, of course, our eye in the sky, Skyline, doing the observers for Auzom Premier League. Week 2, round 4. This is for all the marbles, boys and girls. We get a middle drop plane to see who gets the final chicken dinner of the night. Yum, yum, nom, nom, Lil Fuzzy Seal. Tell me who you expect to take this one home.
Oh, man. Well, a team that I've been looking at a little bit has actually been Render. You know, they don't do much in the early game, but they just always show up somewhere in the late game. It's like, how do they get there? I would like to see them perform if they actually get in a full 4-on-4 fight again. I would like to see them put up a fight this time so I can get a better idea of who they are. And if they take those good fights, maybe we'll see them in a top 1 eventually.
Yeah, last time they were locked into that sort of wizard tower, picking off solos. They got wiped out when they jumped out the windows. So it's one of those things where it's been hard for us to sort of track them because they play very low key. So we'll try to keep an eye on that for you guys this time around because they finished, I believe, third in 2 and 3. So definitely worth checking out. We'll keep an eye on that, as we said. That said, this is the kind of plane you want. Nice, long spread drop, sort of across the middle. Lots of long drop potential. So even the places that weren't touchable in a long drop, like Milta, will have drivers head over there relatively quickly. And that's what we're going to see right out of the gate. Cloud9 already in a Jeep and headed to one of their favorite starting spots as they roll over to the trash loot compounds along the south of the island.
This is definitely going to be a very big blessing after the third game, which is one of the most mean flight plans I've ever seen, just hugging that southern coast. But I'm looking right now at Space Station Gaming. We're just seeing their parachutes just hover around in the middle near the farm area. They don't have a clear plan, and now Moody is taking shots at them. One of them might not make it down.
I mean, it's pretty hard to shoot somebody out of the sky. Moody already used one clip of his bullets. It sounded almost like his team said, "Stop it. Let him come down. Don't do that." Because right now, Frex is outside with the UMP doing the same thing as they land on him. I'm surprised he chose to shoot in the sky instead of run in their general direction and try to get them as they're landing. Because Gunner, he's going to have a shack, and that's about it. As he lands, actually, he misses the shack and lands on the downhill. So I thought he was going to take some damage. Does manage to survive, but he's got a long and uncomfortable run ahead of him.
There is not really a comfortable transition for anyone on Space Station Gaming there, and they're actually walking into a couple of their squads. I think that one of them might have found some sort of, we see Stray driving away right now, but it's only a buggy. It's not going to be able to carry more than 2 people. Dakoko actually stopping, just taking a quick stop by the little shack, leaving a smoke grenade behind. That Dakoko smoke grenades are good now, but they will be continuing on the way toward Milta, very, very scattered.
I think Coco wanted to see where they were headed, see if they stopped at that compound he was headed to. Right now, Coco and his team are doing a very traditional spread. It's what they did last time around, and it cost them big time. By the way, Terran has tabbed in for Space Station. So it looks like they did make a substitution to bring in Terran Tragedy to play in that 4th position. That said, they're back to where they were. Remember, Drassel was at farm, which didn't go great for Drassel last time. This time he's got farm all to himself, so he used to be a country boy. But that's why Coco stopped. He wanted to make sure that SSG wasn't going to the compound he was slated to go to. Smart play instead of sort of forcing it and ending up in a running gunfight.
Looks like JL Day from Turtle Squad having a bit of an issue finding a place to loot. He teased school a little bit, but after getting shot at a wee bit, he'll be having to find somewhere else to go. Looks like despite the relatively clean flight plan, we have about 2 or 3 teams that are still struggling to find loot in the early game, Toffees.
Yeah, a lot of teams sort of finding where they go here, and then the circle establishing itself, going to force some of them to really think twice about where they're stopping, because you know everyone's going to be following you into the circle here relatively soon. A lot of spread, though, pretty much, and that's what I think is catching people off guard. We're seeing a lot more trash looting than we're used to seeing in some of these pro games. Like nobody taking cars and just rushing straight out to Milta Power, people stopping earlier and looting the smaller compounds instead. And I wonder what the reason is behind that. I haven't had a chance to talk to some of these teams about that, but something I want to find out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a thing that's been happening consistently as well. You know, doing a little bit more scavenging and doing a little bit less just city fighting.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is that city fighting is dangerous. You get in a team fight, it's very hard to pull out from that. Meanwhile,
Yeah, I
though, it
mean,
does look
city
like
fighting is dangerous, but tell Drassel that split looting isn't after the last match,
That's a
right?
good
Like,
point.
that's one of those things. Like, trash looting is
Yeah.
less dangerous in theory, but in action, when we look at the fact that C9 and Zentrix and his team are just gates are across the road from each other, there's just as much sphere, but also less cover. At least in a city, you can ghost. In the open, it's just open.
Yeah, we're seeing. If I'm mistaken, I'm pretty sure that guy didn't have any items either. If I'm not mistaken, there he had his fist equipped. Looks like he'll be leaving somewhere early. Looks like this is so many players that just don't have stuff. A little bit of a crate dropping here to the west of one of the players on Team Gates. He'll be getting a Groza, a 15x, a med kit, a ghillie suit for his trouble. There's a lot of stuff coming into this crate. This is exactly what in the early game.
I can just see the guys who packed that crate. They had their fat friend sitting on top as they tried to bolt it shut. They had so much crap stuffed in there. They'll be very happy when they find that. Whoever finds that, it's going to be Vexel. He's got to be careful, though, because Vape is in a position to potentially shoot at him if he decides to go for it.
There is a large dip in that compound, but Vexel didn't see it drop. He's just going. And with where Vape is looting on the east side of that compound, I'm not sure if he saw the crate either. This crate might just sit here for a little bit until someone accidentally stumbles across it.
It may never be touched. It's so far outside of where the next circle's going to be that it's not in a lot of transitional paths. It's in kind of a dead space. So if Bando doesn't find this, then I don't think anybody does. He's sort of looking. It looks like he's driving around in a bit of a circle. He drove past it, decided not to go after it. So that crate may be left, unless Vexel's in the hunt. Vexel's going back around. So it's possible that Vexel just missed it on the first one. Vape, however, is headed up in that direction, sees Vexel buzzing by, wants to get him. Vexel gets out. Vape gets the first shot, but now he's revealed. Goes for the jump and turn. Vexel playing aggressively as he comes forward, looking for him.
This guy does not have a helmet, runs into the shack, he thinks that someone's in that building. This is not always playing a 1v1, but Vape actually just retreating way to the southeast, wants nothing to do with this fight.
Yeah, so Vape smartly bounces, assumes. Both of them assumed that each of them had a team support. Vexel shut out the door because he assumed Vape had a partner. Vape ran away because he assumed Vexel had some partners coming. Both of them didn't know that they were in a 1v1 and smartly just leave. Speaking of leaving, Lil Prodigy's soul in risk of leaving his body as he's flanked around. Or gets picked off on a nice push there, but he does have the help of Jasper, so he will get picked back up, but some nice shooting coming out from, I believe that was E United that took him out on that push.
Yeah, already grabbing a couple of good spots here. Meanwhile, on Potato Hill, looks like Muggers are leading the way, trying to lead a squad somewhere. Meanwhile, NBS, they have found in the first circle, the shack is going to be their home. This is the play, Toffees. Just stack up the cars, get the bikes in here, get everyone around, because this spot, this is their new home. And, looking around, it doesn't look that bad.
Oh, that you call it Potato Hill because it looks like a potato. That makes sense.
The Brony came up with that one.
Huh. Clever. I never even saw the potato. Now I can't stop seeing it. Darn it. Solid FPS with the shot. Sees the bike go by, opens fire. Can't seem to get him. Says, I hate you, bike. No, he goes again. He sees Vape, gets him low. But Vape did get picked up by his friend and will be taken to safety in the area of Drassel's farm. So the Drassel farming commune becoming a very popular place for the rest of his team to join.
Yeah, maybe the blood from his past life will fertilize some crops here this time around, as they are able to actually just show up and probably find a new home for quite a while. And meanwhile, Space Station Gaming still finding himself in such an awkward spot.
Cover fire making the transition, tried to come uphill towards Solid. Solid takes the shots at him. Will force him over towards towards Drassel's team. So it's not like he's out of the trouble yet. It's going to now start to take shots from Drassel and his crew. Cover fire trying to get to the farm to join Traded, but every SSG member who heads over there is putting himself in a dire situation. That said, it is worth noting the second half of Space Station Gaming has Milta all to themselves. Yeah, that's not going to get picked up. That is I feel bad for how much work they put into packing that crate.
That's a shame right there. Ooh, look over here. Like Dash getting caught out on a transition here, getting quite a bit of damage from him. Came in. One of the many players that are putting shots onto the car. Looks like he is going to be able to get a... Nope.
Wow.
Nope, he's dead. The UAZ went rolling off without him.
Dash shot out, and the UAZ heads away. It ran... That UAZ took off fast enough. You think C9 was actually driving it at the time. That said, he's going to get knocked out, taken out. The bike on the rotation. They see the box, and they go on by. They go on.
Great.
There's no way somebody didn't loot this at this point in the game.
Yeah, that's what I would be thinking as I drove past that, so I can't really blame him too much for just zipping on by. And they do have that high speed. They also have a very good compound with the rest of their teammates, with Bando in that little set of those 2 double reds. Very good spot for them. Essentially dead center. So once again, despite losing a player in that transition, Render in a good spot they can essentially sit for the rest of the game.
Yeah, we should see a lot of action coming in here because what we've got right now is a circle that's got about 25%, 20% of it is across the river in military, but we know it's not going to be a military circle. So every team has to establish themselves on the northern island.
Oh.
They lose a lot of ground because of that water, so there is going to be a lot of combat force a little bit earlier than these teams would like with that 80% circle. Meanwhile, Big E passes up.
Yes!
Great. Is this it? Yay, Big E. Who says Biggie's dead? Biggie pops in, grabs himself a nice weapon, jumps back in the car, and takes off.
Wait.
No, that was a different one. That wasn't the same crate.
You just have a, that wasn't the same crate. What was that crate? What is going on here? Where did the crate go?
Oh, well. That said, Biggie in and out as they drive past the hold positions of so many teams. They're moving along, trying to get to the beach to figure out where they can call home, but they are taking shots from everywhere. Totality taking a shot at MLGB. It's really just like they put a giant flag and said, let's just drive this through the area and hope we survive. I like that Totality's got Purdy out there on the shack on the mountain so that he can try to finish anybody who gets shot by his team. He knows that that's a primary rotation position for these pros. They like that driving path that takes them to the beach, and he camps there to try to get those kills. MLGB loses one there, and the car I don't think can come back for him, so he should just be sacrificed.
Definitely a late rotation coming out here from MLGB. I don't know whether his friends are going to go. He's every company is occupied. The answer is to the south, a shack, while one player from MLGB just moves onward. Not a good spot for MLGB to be losing one player and also playing split with 2 players in a shack.
2 players in a shack is better than 1 player dead in a car, so that's where they decide to stop. They do send Biggie up north, so he will finally find a place to call home. Solid in the meantime, using that holographic sight and taking some long-range shots. A couple of effective ones, but not enough to get any knocks or kills. So he's going to go back into his house and wait to see what established itself off our next circle rotation. 16 teams alive, 61 people up. The water has been removed from the equation. Potato Mountain takes over 50% of the circle, and everyone from Milta, etc., is going to have to think about going towards the center.
This is definitely a little bit more north, and I think a lot of people expected. Obviously cutting out the military island, as you said, but definitely a bit earlier than these teams planned for. Most players in like the bottom 50% of the circle, leaving a lot of space open to the north if they can get there. Cayman is going to be braving this transition with his buggy, heading on north over the Pachinki Fields. Nope, never mind. He's coming back. He does not want to do that.
Yeah, it was a very. You said braving the transition. I was like, very slowly braving the transition. Looked more like he was mowing the lawn than anything else as he made his way past our camera. That said, it looks like Rectify going to be coming in from the northeast. They should find themselves a nice little area there if they stop at the edge. If they don't, they're going to run into some trouble. That said, up on top, it looks like CeeLo and his boys going to be in a happy spot up on the potato. Envy is still in dead mid, but they've got to deal with all the guys in those structures around them.
I'm a little bit worried for those teams that are in the farm area Toffees, especially those that are on the south side. We saw from the map that over half the game, another ghillie suit actually, yeah.
I see a lot of stuff stuffed in these crates.
Yeah, once again, game telling us showing us some signs. But looking at this, there's just so many teams here. Once they're finally forced out, it is going to be very, very hard for teams to move, even if they wanted to. So right now, especially these guys who are trapped in these shacks, what options do they have here?
And that's the big difference, right? When you talk about Erangel versus Miramar and sort of how they've been developing in terms of meta, Erangel, somewhere you got to move very fast to get to a center position to get one of these compounds, because if you don't, transitions are tough. We saw that with MLGB. Miramar, a little more forgiving of those early moves because there's always some sort of terrain thing that you can utilize to protect your team and wait for a circle. Speaking of protecting your team, Moody pivots 90 degrees and tries to take off, but sacrifices Frex to the gods of the red compound.
Is used as a meat shield, but Moody going past another compound. I don't know if he has much longer for this world. I think I might see the buggy spin out, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's missing his back right tire. This is not gonna keep going, Moody, but he's trying to live back towards his teams at half HP, and I guess a buggy with 3 wheels is better than being left on. No, it's not. Moody gives up, going in on foot. I do not blame him for that. Going instead in this shack while his team is covering his,
I mean, it becomes a fixed piece. So he forced it back to the shack. It creates a little bit of cover should he have to fight out around the corner of the shack. That said, It is what it is. Freck's going to bleed himself out. They've just left him behind. Not much they can do. I imagine he's probably crawling and throwing gear on the ground as he goes right now. Day all day taking some shots at Sharp Shot as they share a position, Red House to Red House, or Red House to Wizard Tower, I believe. Prodigy and E United also staring at each other on the other side of the road. There's a hill up there, and Little Prodigy taking shots at Rectify. So all of these teams within about 200 meters of another team, with almost no exceptions. Everyone in some sort of engagement with 16 teams alive.
We still have 61 alive, so not many deaths yet, but that is going to change. This always happens in these farm circles. You grab the compounds while they're around, and the players that die are the ones that are forced to leave. MLGB, though, one of the players that have actually managed to find themselves an unoccupied compound in the south side near the coast. So they're going to be safe for now on their old transition route, but like everyone else, and probably them faster than anyone else, they will have to leave this area eventually.
Very likely. That said, I like C9's position. I really like what we're seeing out of Sharp Shot and NVS. Those guys in a really good position up there in the middle of the circle. Expect to see them doing very, very well here. MLGB still just hunkered down. Tier 3 on Vestus sitting on the ground there. So it might have been a swap out of some sort. That said, everybody just waiting to see what this circle tells them to do.
Yeah, everyone in game is probably looking at their maps about as much as we are. There's no real pushes, a couple of pokes coming out, people letting each other know where everyone is, saying, don't push me, or maybe they'll find that headshot. But I'm honestly, Toffees, I'm liking the position for anyone that isn't in this farm area. And I think that team right now is to the northeast. Squad 10, Ignite PUBG. They're going to be able to avoid this entire movement from the southeast side of the circle, which could just put them in a spot where they get to keep their 4-man.
Totality Gaming making the transition. E United also. E United going right between the hammer and the anvil. Going to take a lot of fire as they send across. They've got multiple cars. Jimmer going to be out in front. Tony V trying to help as well. They get inside the circle. They take a nice little pit here and decide to go terrain advantage instead of trying to push towards middle. I like it, but they're still taking a ton of fire from down the way. They weren't ready for the guys sitting inside of the Wizard Tower.
Sharpshot actually getting it down with the grenades. God Squad has an angle on them from above, it appears. He's going to be able to get those downs. And meanwhile, also, I'm Big K, able to shoot them from the southwest. Moving it all in this circle is just so painful. There's so many angles.
Lots of angles, lots of people all over the place. Tony V and the boys looking uphill, though, because Sharp Shot now being hit by Prodigy and his team as they come in. Rectify going to crash into CeeLo Green and his crew. Jay all day taking shots at everyone as they make the transition. It's one of those things you might be hearing bullets whiz by you, but they could have been shot at somebody 100 meters to your left, and it just flew on by. Lots of interesting fights developing here, while other teams on the opposite side of the map just get to waltz up to Potato Mountain without any issues whatsoever.
Yep, but quite a few teams finding themselves on the northeast side, specifically, well, even the southeast side. Jay all day from Slime Squad, they're still trying to punish E United. There's 3 players there, and when that smoke fades, Jay all day will have a better spot, trying to position himself a little bit better in the closet, jumping around. But those smokes, it won't last forever, and when they fade, I fear for E United's position of cover.
Yeah, we'll see how this breaks down as we see A6 trying to get up over the hill right now. Sharp Shot inside the shack. They got their car set out in front. Elected does take a hit. Immediately goes to ground to try and hide from this thing. A6 trying to make the wraparound. Ashton sliding out to the side. A nice grenade. Could it work? I don't think it was quite far enough to get elected, but should spook them a little bit.
There actually is a push coming from the east side as well, as E United taking out one of the players from Little Prodigy squad as they try to flank south. So there really is no other route for any team other than to just try to focus one group as hard as you can, or just avoid the fight entirely. E United is doing just that, trying to survive as long as they can in this little divot. Meanwhile, Squad 16, Fadeaway 3, just awkwardly just kind of pacing around, trying to find shots, but when they peek one person, they peek everyone.
Right. So that fight, interestingly, nobody with anywhere to really go, but they're all inside the circle so they can play it slow. The problem is whoever comes out of this one, I do not expect to be in very good fighting shape, as they're going to have to take a lot of damage to get out of this. That's the downside of the shack. There's not enough cover for the 4 of you to effectively engage in a peak fight. So we see Ashton out in the open as the circle begins or continues to close, and will lock out a couple of teams in some really bad spots in terms of being able to cross into the middle. So we focus on this fight, but no, the rest of the map is rotating at the same time. They have started to find their positions. We see Zentrix locking, I believe, 15 out. So Tempo trying to get into the circle, having to deal with the gatekeepers that are Zentrix and his team.
Yeah, we're seeing right now that the Zentrix is not winning this fight. Judging by the way he's healing, bandages, I really worry for the ability for this one to take a fight. Your boy Dre, though, getting down from the far, far north, not even from Squad 14.
Wow.
This is not a fight that Tempo Storm can continue to take. They need to pull something out of their hats, or else they're going to die from that flank.
So Tempo in a really tough spot. They're going to have to move in past the gatekeepers. I don't see that happening very often. And if it does, then they run to Vexel and the other guys holding the secondary grouping. So lots to go through on their way towards the middle as they continue the fight. They're going to jump into a car and just go for broke. Zampa decides to take the bike, pull it forward. I guess they're just going to make themselves a little fort and try to buy some time just inside the blue.
No. The new zone has popped. The farm is officially taken out. All these squads that have been sitting here for most of the game now have to leave. By the way, look at the top right. 16 teams still left. Not a single wipe has occurred yet.
That is a good point. So a lot of people have been knocked. A few have been taken out, but everyone's still sort of playing very carefully. It is the last round of the night. You want to make sure that you maintain your position because overall score is given to the best performances of the night as well. That said, Maluke is knocked off the back of the bike, but Zampa does manage to make it past him and farther into the circle. So he's going to rush for white on the trike, head straight up Potato Mountain, and may actually be okay as nobody's up there waiting for him. All right, so up he goes. He'll probably find a good spot there as we wait for the next push. In comes Totality, hits his own guy. Knocks Purdy. Purdy goes down. The rest of his team is going to try to help him out, but they're taking fire from uphill. Can they get him up before the car blows up is the real question. Taro trying to make the sacrifice. Meanwhile, 13 pushes in, and Vexel takes the other side of the compound. Talk about a disaster.
Flanked from a lot of angles, but if they can get that one player up and get inside this building, they could have a chance to fight here. Looks like they haven't been able to get that player up, so Totality still playing with a four-man, trying to punish, moving past that window, but both of these squads still playing with a four-man, and they're in a similar spot as they just left. When they have to leave, it's gonna be weird.
It's going to be crazy. They had not the interest they wanted to make. Meanwhile, NZV does manage to hold up their spot. They knock out a team trying to make the transition past them. As you said, they locked into that shack, and they're going to stay there forever. You were not wrong. Caster cursed the rest of the map because he told us exactly where it was going to be. You called Potato, you called Lockdown, and everything has happened the way that you expected it to. So Envy still holding there. They got 3 teams pushing uphill exactly into them. We're going to see if they can hold that against them. Meanwhile, E United up against Pistola. Can they stop him? Sharpshooter Pat Caps is already down. Guys trying to get that shot as he rolls around the left side. Sharp shot HD behind the rock. Takes 2 shots to the face. He goes down now as Vegs gets a nice shot there. One left. Pistola time trying to represent his team.
There's only one up left from God's Way. He's trying to get the revive up, but his teammates that are down are just dying left and right all around him. E United feel like they've done enough damage, but there's just so many squads to their south. That fight is not going to end anytime soon, but Totality beginning their own, making a push after getting it down.
Smithy's just going for it. They got the down. They're playing very aggressive. One man outside. He gets turned on the flick. He ends up taking one, but drops one as well. Smurfless down. DM Master on the stairs. They finish the job and clear him out. Everyone dying. It's a
bodies
massacre
everywhere.
Bodies hit the floor. It's a drowning pool song, and here is T-Win against Smithy. 1v1, I believe. Tries to make it happen. It doesn't. T-Win survives. Oh no! Vexel outside, and MLG's shown up. Biggie's here. He heard there was a fight. He can't turn it down. He's looking to make the play. H-Win upstairs trying to figure out what to do. Vexel is crawling around, but he doesn't have time to pick him up. H-Win holding the stairs, going for the pre-fire and the sprays by himself on the top. The nades are going off all over the place. MLGB knows what they want, and they want to finish the fight, lick up everyone got left behind. They're here to clean up the table scraps, and they're going to be very happy with it.
Quinn, the last player alive, is the hero of his own action movie, but I don't know if this is going to have a good ending for him. He's chucking frag after frag after frag and saying, please do not push me. Just don't do it. The smoke as well going out. Quinn does a couple of frags.
Like that, smart.
Saw someone going in that corner. He might get it down here.
Alo up on the box. Will the frag work out? He threw it through the smoke. Doesn't look like it's going to, so Alo somehow dodges the frag. Meanwhile, H-Wing going to hold up here. The Blues behind him. Throws out another smoke. He's just trying to cause as much chaos as he can. It wouldn't surprise me if LGB decides he's not worth the trouble and decides to just get a little bit of loot and move out, knowing that he's locked in and it's not worth losing those people. So MLGB heads down to the bottom story. They may try to slip towards the yellow houses. Interesting. They showed up at just the right time for them and the wrong time for everyone else.
There's a few seconds left, about 20 before the shrink occurs. A lot of players still alive, playing edge, and a very weakened capacity. Hwin, though, he has 1-1 armor, basic gear, but MLGB moving out saying he's not worth the trouble. His play worked.
It's a smart play. It's a smart play by both teams in this context. That said, though, MLGB's got Cloud9 coming uphill right to the side of them. I don't think he knows they're there. Moody and Frolic are both pushing very, very hard. Biggie setting the trap for the last man. So they left Biggie behind. MLGB's only got him there. He decides to start running. Moody should hear him. Now, Biggie heard Moody. Biggie turns back around. He should see Frolic in just a second. Looks down. There's Moody. There's Frolicer. Frolicer goes down. Moody looks uphill. Gets Biggie in return. He's got to go back and get him picked up. The Blue's on the way, and Moody decides not to do it. He ends up dropping from Theris up the hill.
Shrink is happening right now, so he has to get his teammate up as fast as he can. You see Hwin in the distance, who has been able to survive this whole encounter. Doing a little bit of blue taking. He's made his way in. Does Theris see it? Does it matter? I'm not sure, but I really hope that Hwin, our solo player, can make it in here.
Hwin's little legs chugging like a Schwinn as he tries to get up that hill, but it's just not going to... Oh, it is going to work out. So he's going to walk right into Zentrix, opens fire, gets the knock. Hwin on the run, gets a little bit of vengeance. That Coco uphill now knows where he is, but Hwin's got a long run ahead of Hwim.
Oh, look at the southeast side here, though.
He got one, he got another one. Hwin knocked another MLGB. He seeks vengeance, making it a 1v1 for MLGB versus Hwin as he's fighting for vengeance now and a little bit of hate. Blue Circle going to force him, though, out from behind the tree. Goes for the lean, decides to take the damage, rushes into it. Alo goes. He gets the knock again. That's another one. Hwin on fire as he pumps his legs to get up that hill, dodging everyone. But here comes Valiant. He heard the shots. He doesn't want to let a man have this side of the circle, so he comes around. Hwin will probably be able to get into hiding behind that rock if he moves very quickly. He stopped for a heal, looks like taking Tick outside, gets the heal off. Going to come in just as Valiant walks by. Valiant not looking at the blue, though. That could cost him. Hwin taking a ton of damage. There's Valiant. He sees him, sprays him down. Valiant drops. Zanpa up on the hill. Boom! Headshot, sucker. Zanpa finishes the job, but Valiant will be left for dead.
Oh my goodness, that man's a reign of terror. Just taking out so many solos and duos on his way in. But now look at this, coming in from the rear. Zanpa is now alone with a squad bearing down on him from the north. Duel is looking for a little bit more than a fair duel here as the entire squad bears down, rotating around the south side. Will he spot Zanpa hiding behind the tree?
That's the question. It's a big order for them to see him. He could be a big spoiler right now. Duel, here comes. They expect Zampa. Zampa versus Duel. Tempo versus Ford. K-Mike going to go around the outside. Goes to the spray down. Takes him out. No big deal. So they do manage to take out Tempo. Reduces us to 5 teams fighting up on the hill. Kick and start. Going to get picked up by Mossy, but they're taking a lot of fire from 15 as Rectify tries to push on them. Soko on the outside. Picks up Louie. No, he gets knocked, though, by...
From the south.
Check shooter by Envious. So another team getting involved.
Long-range shots is eliminating these guys and making sure that Ignite can actually have a way to take this fight. But the problem here is that Envy's looking really strong. They still have 3 up. They're eliminating a lot of these stragglers. And now, look at the top right. Only 4 teams left, 11 alive right now, Toppies.
Envious has hit the start button on the stopwatch. Tick-tock as they come through, knocking out teams as they push into the potato. Meanwhile, coming from south, they've got to work about blown apart. Here's our guys again. Render, the team that sneaks in every freaking time.
My God,
looking in 4th place as they slowly make their way up to the north, but they got to deal with everyone from Duel rotating left side. They got the only structure left in the game, but Envious will have uphill advantage. We got Mossy and Kickstart happy to sit in the trees, looking for a 2nd place finish potentially.
Looks like everyone's just waiting for the circle to shrink. There's 4 teams left alive, each essentially covering each other's cardinal direction. This guy, they got the Groza every time they get a crate gun that everyone else is too scared to go for. Whether it be crates or positioning, these guys always got something good. But the thing is, though, is that this time they don't have the numbers on their side.
Can they finish? I've learned a lot of things in my life, and if you can't finish, it doesn't matter how good you are at starting out. That's what they got to do right now, is they got to make this happen. Envious does challenge. They going up against the guys. Kickstart, hiding out. iMossy as well. They open up with a good starting shot, but iMossy will have time to heal. Envious going to move uphill, lock themselves in. Check with no helmet, though. Has to be careful. The spray could take him out very, very quickly.
Yeah, a lot of these guys running with very, very damaged armor, level 1 gear all around, if they have any at all. But meanwhile, though, on the southwest side, it looks like a lot of the guys are rotating around the south side of the circle. There could be a 2v4 coming out in favor of Duel on the southwest side. Pentala, I think he spotted them. Yeah, Benno gets shot in the head, has to keep going further north, but they're getting pinched.
Oh, Render gets taken down right away. This is what keeps happening to them in these final circles as they seem to get caught by, I don't know if it's outgunned or out of position, but they just keep getting locked out. They are down to 1 as he hides out, allows Envy to go head-to-head with Duel as they fight each other across the map right now. Mossy not peeking, he's pinned in. Znark gets a good aim at him, decides to drop behind the tree, trying to lock him in place, but he's got kickstart there on his backup as well. He's got to worry about the rotation coming out from Envious. So Znark going to keep pushing up. Now he should be coming over the hill towards Mr. Blown Apart as well as Envious. Will it cost him? Decides to duck down and falls back to his team. They saw Moss. They saw their partner take the hit. Wooly tried to go over the hill and was knocked, so now they're very aware of who's down there. There we go. Yeah. They're going to see Mr. Blown Apart as he gets ripped apart by bullets. He's stuck on a tree, covered by 2 guys. Here comes the nade. Let's see if Kobe can make him his namesake. No, not great, but it did force him to rotate, so he took a lot of shots. Now he's going to try to go for the fast heal, which allows them to push if they want to do that, or just keep tossing the nades all days.
The frag from Penta finally taking him out, but they wasted a lot of time.
Truly lives up to his name, though, as he is Mr. Blown Apart, left behind the tree. Doesn't matter if you're thinking like a bush. You're still easy to kill when you just sit there. We got Envious now hiding over the hill. Good peek play coming out by Wooly here. They did lose some players to the Blown Apart combat sequence, so they've got to play a little bit careful.
Squad 11 over there on the side. Duel has a big swath of open terrain they have to move through. Envy could punish them, but a set of really good smokes is allowing them to make their way into the white. The question is that will the smokes last long enough for them to make it into the white and into cover?
Absolutely. And keep in mind, they still have the team to their right. Mossy hiding out inside of the rocks, letting these 2 teams fight each other out. Envious down on players, I believe, right now. Or is it? Yeah, I think they're down 3 to 4. So they do have to deal with that coming out of Wooly and his partner. And I remember, if either of these teams gets down to 1 or 2 off of this fight, it means that Mossy gets the advantage. Venerate sliding out to the left side, puts Caden out to the right. The nade goes off, doesn't finish the job. They did lose the 1, so Venerated now has to think about making a push into 4. Tough order for him. Wooly sees him. Boom, baby. They finish the job, and now it's 4v2. Mossy and KSN. KS knows that they got to make this happen.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate for them, and not a single player was lost on Duel during that engagement, so there's nothing really they can work with. Some smoke grenades are now going out to try to get a little bit closer, deflecting off the tree. That isn't going to be doing too much. There's nothing going in their favor. There's an uphill battle. There's no numbers, and now not even the zone is on their side.
Yep. All right, Wooly with the peek, looking for a little something. They know exactly where they are because they know where they're not, right? They just engaged in a fight, didn't take any damage in that area, so they know if they're down here on these rocks, they have to be. That means they can toss out the nades, they can toss out the smokes, anything that's throwable, they can start throwing in that direction and try to hurt them before they have to beat them.
These peeking battles, though, there's huge amounts of suppression coming out from Wooly. Cayman does take a bit of damage, but it's just simple numbers. You win one peek. Oh, a good down. This could be the beginning for to get something. The trade cannot happen. There's a flank coming out on the left.
Yeah, that opens it up now. They can run all 3 remaining players straight at Kickstart if they want to, as long as they run it at a 3-man flank. Kickstart taking a ton of damage. Doc's behind the car, hitting left, right, easy push. He is hurt and probably going to go down here. He goes for the heal. They're playing carefully as they push him, but he's only at 75% health. Znark waiting for his chance to go, opens up and unleashes. We'll see the counter push, the flank push coming out now as well. There's the peak battle, and the end is given to K-Mine as he works right up on top of him and finishes the job.
Oh, man, a beautiful endgame again right there, especially explosive mid-game, Toffees. So many players managed to stay alive in that early game, not having about 3 deaths or so by the 3rd circle. But then when they all had to force themselves into that small area on top of the farm hill, a lot of players died trying to move in. Very, very explosive mid-game.
Explosive mid-game, to say the least. So let's go back over real quick and give a shout out to all those teams who came through and gave us quite the show tonight. That was round 4, so that means we're done for the evening, but not totally out of it. Come back next week, obviously Sunday. We're back on Sundays, I think, next week, so you guys will get the good Sunday action for both EU and North America. Big shout out to the team that finished in first place. That is Duel, coming in with, what is that, 8 kills, not too shabby, 9 kills.
Nice.
Second place goes to Tunican and his team from Ignite PUBG. Envious in third. Render comes in fourth again in the top 5 with their slow, sneaky play, though they did get 5 kills this time to show off a little bit. Rectify in 5th place. Guys, my name is Toppage. You can find me at Toppy's TV if you are interested. I'm joined by my partner in crime, a Lil Fuzzy Seal. You can find him at _Lil Fuzzy Seal over on Twitter. And of course, our eye in the sky, the king of observers, Mr. Skyline himself. You can find him at Skyline_OW. You can find all of us over at auzom PUBG, and we'd love to hear from you. If you got any feedback, just want to give us a shout out, we'd love to talk to you personally, so feel free to hit all of us up. Guys, thank you for spending the evening with us. Thank you to auzom for having us, but most importantly, thank you to everyone for choosing to watch. And if you do have the time, please hit that follow button. We're here every week bringing you some of the best PUBG content available, and we'd love for you to come back and spend that time with us again. Any last words before we sign out, my friend?
This has been a great series of games, man. I love casting these series. And if you like it, just remember to hit that follow button on the auzom, Twitch page to get more games. There's sure to be tons of games of these quality and greater coming to you guys soon later in the season.
Absolutely. All right, guys, don't go. Oh, I guess go anywhere. Take a rest. We'll talk to you later, as that's pretty much the end of what we've got going on tonight. But if you head over to auzom.gg, you can see all of the rankings from the whole week, as well as the updated ones tonight once they get put on the board. We've got a long season ahead of us, and we're going to be here every week bringing it to you. For all of us here at the auzom family, have a good night, play more PUBG, and we'll see you soon.